So I'm here on Stadium where the crews continue to put electrical lines onto the newly in place power poles. When they got here, the poles were snapped and literally leaning on the electrical lines. I just wrapped up at Jesse Hall here. Now the biggest issue seems to be students just not feeling like they belong on campus. 19% of the respondents said that they felt some sort of exclusionary behavior. Now that could be harassment, bigotry, racial profiling. I'm holding the discussion points given to the volunteer lobbyists here at the Capitol. One Republican commissioner urged his constituents on Facebook to support the measure. That's where I met Paul Prevost.
Tonight, the city of Columbia unveiled its initial plans for the police substation in the north part of town. As part of the city's strategic plan, the substation is going to have a space for the community to hold events. KOMU 8's Chris Joseph is in the studio to tell us why some residents are saying the first draft doesn't cut it.
This past spring, North Columbia residents told the city they were looking for a community kitchen and recreational space for their children. Tonight, the layout for the substation had neither.
What can we do for the children in the neighborhood? What can we do to build a relationship in the neighborhood? That's what we really need to focus on also.
Sophia Smith is a North Columbia resident and has campaigned for months for a large community area in the police substation. Tonight, the city unveiled the first draft of that community area.
You've got the lobby and the restrooms that support it.
The community room, as planned now, would have space for a small food area, but also sit 65. It wouldn't have a food pantry, a kitchen, or any storage for the groups that would use it. Deputy Chief of Police Jill Schlude said the city is working with limited space and money.
I think the spaces that you see identified on here are pretty much the kind of have-to-have space.
Smith says she's grateful for the room, but a bigger facility would be better for keeping kids off the streets.
We're just asking for them to add additional to the community room so that we can use it as a community.
Construction won't begin until late 2018, and both women say talks will continue. It's important to note that nothing's been finalized with the station, but that police stations do require sizable and secure areas for operation. In the studio, Chris Joseph, KOMU 8 News.
Tonight, Missouri state debt is growing and county jails are footing the bill.
Missouri Department of Corrections owes $19 million to county jails across the state. Target 8 Chief Investigator Jamie Gray is here with the team's latest story. Jamie.
Well, of course, every day jails hold inmates who broke state law. But that also means that every day this debt is rising. KOMU 8's Chris Joseph is in studio to tell us how this debt could actually be robbing your county of resources.
State law requires the Missouri Department of Corrections to reimburse county jails for holding inmates who break Missouri law and ultimately end up in prison. The DOC gets $10 million every quarter to pay the jails, about $40 million per year. But once it's gone, there's no money until the next quarter, and it's getting backed up. So not everyone is getting paid, but the invoices keep coming. This leaves counties paying for inmates they shouldn't have to. The Callaway County Jail houses about 85 inmates. Any given day, it's manned by 3 corrections officers, or 4 on a good day.
In the hypothetical perfect world, which I wish would occur, I would have 6 corrections officers on duty at any given time.
Sheriff Clay Chisholm only has 1 deputy to transport inmates to court, doctor's appointments, or other jails across Missouri.
I need more than 1 deputy to transport all these prisoners.
As of January, the Department of Corrections owed his jail more than $200,000.
That reimbursement money that we're owed from the state of Missouri could be used for some very significant upgrades to both either the jail or patrol.
Callaway County has been forced to pick up the slack.
We just don't have the money to just keep throwing at the jails because we've got other things that we need to do for the citizens of the county.
Commissioner Gary Youngerman says a backed-up court system is keeping inmates in jail longer, growing the bill. This state-sponsored report says public defenders are overworked and underpaid. Too many cases for the public defenders slows the process, keeping inmates from getting a speedy trial. This keeps inmates waiting in jail, running up the bill.
What metrics are being used to make that decision?
Representative Carla May and other members of the Budget Committee met with the Public Defender's Office earlier this month.
Even with the budget chair in these conversations, they've been favorable that we need to, increase funding in the Public Defender's Office.
But nothing's been passed yet. Until then, Callaway Jail will continue to house inmates with what it has. The next time it can see any money from the state is April. Callaway County officials estimated it costs more than $40 per day to house an inmate. The state only pays out $22 per inmate per day. You can go to KOMU.com for an interactive chart showing how much the state owes your county. In the studio, Chris Joseph, KOMU 8 News.
By the way, the department did not respond to multiple requests for an on-camera interview.